Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friday Focus. My name is Jake Cunningham from White Dove Global Marketing, and it's an honor and pleasure to have you on today. We have a very special guest, Louise Swartzwelter, out of the Albuquerque Natural Health Center. Louise and I have been working together for over a decade, and it's an absolute pleasure to have her on. Pick her brain a little bit. BRAIN acronym for something special we're going to be learning about later. But first, while everyone's logging on, I just want to give everybody a quick tip on supporting yourself through this webinar. There is a little reconnect button at the bottom of your screen down there that you can hit that refreshes the page if there's any back lag or delay in the streaming. And if you can't hear us, check your audio settings first. Remember, this is a live streaming YouTube video is really what it is. And so you can troubleshoot by not being connected to other Netflix, YouTube videos, other Wi-Fi connections. That can always help. So as we move along in the fall, as we get into the real meat and potatoes of the focus, when we get into real protocol strategy and things of that nature, you'll want to make sure it's not disrupted. So all of these are a warm up to some of the heavy content coming this fall. But to kick things off today, the focus is really the successful brain and mindset. And I want to just play a YouTube video to get as the people are logging on, it's a few-minute video that will help motivate you for the rest of the week, finishing strong on Friday and going from there. So let me cue the video and enjoy. All right. Luis, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Did you happen to hear that video?
I didn't.
There's a little unmute button. I'll show you how to do it so you can enjoy it, because I know 4 minutes of a video without audio is an eternity. So thank you, sweetheart, for waiting. You're awesome. And what it was, I'll sum it up, and everybody, it's a little cliche, the video, very, about the law of attraction and about asking and opening up that energy to receive and to focus with positive intentions. Without intent, there cannot be manifestation of anything. You have to have a positive intention. And that's a little bit about what we're getting into today. So without further ado, Luis, I want to welcome you and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We love you and I love working with you. Look forward to tomorrow.
Thank you, Jake.
You're very welcome. And what I want to do is go through some questions. The questions, this is going to be about 10-15 minutes, everybody. If it expands from there, great. And then we'll open it up to Q&A with Luis. But this is about the brain, the mind. And the reason for the focus is to tap into the expertise of some of our gifted leaders in the industry. Now, there's no one in a hierarchy of better, worse, but you've proven with your practice and also with your new ventures to step outside of the comfort zone. And that takes an amount of courage that we want to tap into a little bit of what is it and how do you cope and deal with when that little talking head in your brain starts to spread fear and doubt and question and things of that nature. And I want to start off and let you explain a little bit about your background, but how did you become interested in the healing arts, Luis?
I became interested in healing because I got sick myself. So I was a special ed teacher, and I usually say I taught special education students and they became like the kids I taught, which is really true. I actually lost my memory. At one point, I had my phone number written in my wallet. This is before cell phones. And so I couldn't think, and I was full of heavy metals and very toxic because I had 14 fillings, mercury fillings taken out in one day as a suggestion from my dentist. And I crashed after that. I really crashed. So I had to get myself healthy. And so my quest, because my own brain didn't work, right? And because I was working with special education students for so many years, and I really sort of tapped into their energy fields and their brains. That's why I love the brain and all parts of it now, and how my practice has really grown to be a very specific combination of tools that I use that help all levels, not just your physical body and your physical brain.
Right. And what would you say, was there a catalyst or a time, a period, you don't have to put dates, but that you realized the importance of the brain in the overall wellness? Obviously, the holistic approach that you've brought forth always included mental and psychological, but when was it when you really thought oh wow, the brain is something that I'm going to focus on?
That's a good question. I mean, it did kind of evolve. So probably two things. One is just what I said. My brain didn't work, so my quest was to get my brain working again. And then the other was I actually worked with students and taught them how to read, write, and spell. I was a dyslexic therapist,
right? And
one of my students I put on biofeedback every day for about 9 months because I didn't have room in my schedule to actually pick him up as a reading student yet. I was working with his brother, and he got out early on Wednesdays, and they were in this side of town. So I said to Mom, just bring him for biofeedback. We'll just do it every day. So let's just do this every Wednesday he came, so once a week for biofeedback. What I didn't know was that she had him tested with a reading test called the Woodcock-Johnson reading test. And I didn't know that before I actually tested him myself. So he had a pre-test before I started biofeedback, and then a post-test after 9 months of biofeedback before I started working with him as a student to teach him to read, write, and spell. He jumped 2 grade levels in reading.
Wow.
With just biofeedback.
In what time period? Like how long, Luis, were you working with him?
it was 9 months. It was 9 months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And usually it took me, a year of therapy or more to get students to jump those grade levels in reading. So what I realized was the programs that I was using was really working on their brains
Mm-hmm.
in a bigger way than I knew. And then I started seeing that if the neurotransmitters were not balanced for people, it didn't matter what supplement I gave them.
Mm.
If their brains weren't balanced, their whole body was not balanced.
Mm.
So it was pretty much, I'm going to call it a no-brainer because I was like, wow, this is what we have to do now.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and what would you say? It's kind of a question of the cart before the horse, or the horse before the cart. What came first, in the chicken before the egg before the chicken? What would you do for the practitioners out there who are dealing with that let's call it client type archetype? Do you do a overall physical, nutritional, touch, massage, chiropractic, acupuncture, like physical medicine mixed with some of the energetic? I mean, how do you approach somebody like that when they come in? Because of course the brain working better helps the body, but the body working better helps the brain, and vice versa. What's a strategy you do when you're dealing with that?
Okay, so everybody's unique, so I need to say that first. I muscle test people, so I'm using kinesiology.
Okay.
So I muscle test what they need, and then I've created a system called BRAIN. So B stands for body. So we have to work on the physical body. That would be nutrition, eating right, the right supplements. I'm pretty picky about the right supplementation today because people come in with bags and bags and bags of vitamins and herbs. And if I test them using muscle testing, I find out that, half of that stuff isn't working. And they just spent a ton of money on it too. And so I like to look for the right, I'm just picky about that. I want the right protocol. So B is body. R is release. And so we have to release the old trauma, because if we don't release the trauma and the stuff that gets stuck in the brain, and many of you, if you are biofeedback practitioners, you understand Dr. Hamer's work. And Dr. Hamer was a German doctor that discovered that trauma causes illness. And he found lesions in the brain and actually took pictures of people's brains. And when he was working with breast cancer patients, when he worked on the trauma, the cancer went away.
Right.
And I have a great example of this. I had a woman come in and she really just wanted a nutritional appointment. And she had breast cancer that went into the brain. And she told me she had 13 brain tumors. And when we released the trauma, which happened to be a lot of mom stuff, with a technique that I used called brain soul balancing, it's strings that you draw on a piece of paper. You draw the issues, either situations or people, that have pulled you away from being your balanced, beautiful self. And I didn't realize it till after she left, but each one of those strings, there were 13 of them. And she told me she had 13 brain tumors and had this gamma knife radiation medical treatment that, she didn't even know who she was for months after that. And I thought, wow, she had 13 brain tumors and she had 13 strings. So each one of those little traumas. And I thought to myself, what if we had worked with her on releasing that trauma before she had the gamma knife radiation?
Right.
I'm going to guess those tumors wouldn't have even been there.
Yeah. Or the immunity and that strength to cope with that invasive, stress would have been on a much different level. So the release is working with some of the emotional trauma and those
So
past programs that are stuck.
Right. And then the A of brain is aligned with spirit. So our spiritual bodies are often stronger than our physical. So we've got to work in the spiritual field. And then I in the brain is integrating ancestral programs, integrating, again, sort of those pieces of that emotional, mental body.
Some of the miasmic past, tied to the heredity and
the heredity and the miasms, all of that. And then N is putting in a new program. So It's sort of like we get rid of all the old stuff, because I don't think everybody really realizes how much of our energy field is affected by other people. And
Right.
when we talk about mindset and what you're talking about today, to really maintain a positive, confident mindset, you got to get the garbage out of the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you get that garbage out and then you put in a new program, a program of, yes, I can succeed, and yes, I'm feeling, good today, then that will happen. So that's definitely a piece of the mindset. And I use a technique called Geotran, which is the language of the energy field. And when
Hmm.
we put in that new program, I watch people just literally change. In fact, pain levels even go down.
It's like this analogy is really poor, but to me, this is not a going through each of these elements with one of your patients or clients for all the practitioners out there, or for the attendees who aren't practitioners. And correct me if I'm wrong, Louise,
Hmm.
but the approach that many of you use, it's not a one time through, you're done, you're fixed, you're 100% good to go, and you'll never revisit any of this again. It's like taking out your trash each week. You have to collect the garbage, pack it up, go
Right.
set it there, have the great service of the trash gentleman who I love to see, because I work from the home office. I get to holler at these people behind the scenes in a lot of our lives. And some of them are stressed, some of them are loving it. It's great to see. But then you got to put a new bag in the trash can and then clear the clutter. And but maybe not the best analogy, but my point is, would you agree that this is a system that, yes, you may need support from the practitioners out there like yourself and our practitioners to get the ball rolling, to support, to coach and get through it, but then there's some things that they can learn to maintain themselves?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So your analogy about taking out the trash, that's a good one. We have to take the trash out every day. So, when I work with people, I like to teach them those tools, that they can
Yeah.
use for themselves, whether it be emotion
Yeah.
code or my brain soul balancing. And I'm also coaching and working with individuals now and teaching that brain system.
Right.
Because what
Okay.
I know about all the people working with brain out there, that the piece that they're missing, and how I discovered this again was just really working with myself, getting myself healthy. I was pretty ill and I had to do these steps. And then, for the last, 13 years here working with clients and finding out that if I didn't do the releasing trauma piece, that they only got to this level. They weren't
Right.
going here.
Yeah.
And so I had to do those other pieces with them too. So you have to teach the tools too. So now I'm doing more coaching and working with people and teaching those tools and teaching that whole system so
Hmm.
that it's much more complete and people get better results quicker.
Right. Right. Well, that's something that we've chatted about recently, is this, that each and every one of us in the field, whether I'm supporting the tools that all of you use or you're practicing yourself, really think about that system that follows through, that allows you to get them in your program, so to speak. But what I love is the downloading new programs, to leaving them on track with new tools and ideas and thoughts and really resources to carry the torch themselves. Because something we have to remember is we're not a crutch. We don't want to duplicate the failed medical system, and I'm not going to go down that road too much, of having people sign up for the rest of their lives and become dependent, right? We're about
Right.
empowering. Yet any successful person knows this is a team journey here. We need our coaches,
Right.
we need our practitioners to keep us on a line, and we need to go get some touch once in a while because we're touch deficient. So get that massage or get that stress reduction session. And but that's interesting. I'm excited about you becoming the trainer of coaches, because it's not that you've done it for yourself first and foremost, but then you've actually practiced. And to move into this next chapter, Louise, I'm excited. And everyone, join us tomorrow. We're going to be doing a Brain Boosters webinar where Louise will go deeper into the brain system. And you're all invited. I'm going to shoot out an email. If you aren't on Luis's list, definitely get signed up for that. You can go to abqnaturalhealthcenter.com or beautifulbalancebrain.com. And so you get information. And the groups is another whole way and resource and tool for people to stay connected and keep focused on the journey. I love Wednesdays when I get my little email blast from Luis, keeping me on point and focused. And it's quite profound. So for many of you, you may be already part of the groups, but if not, go to the websites to learn more. How do you deal with failure when you're having that day when you don't want to show up? What's that purpose that drives you? How do you deal with the lows?
That's a really good question. And all entrepreneurs are going to face that. In fact, I'm going to turn around and grab a book so I can show you guys.
Go for it. Yeah.
Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. So I do a couple things. I clear my field using the brain soul balancing. Okay. So I will put either myself or Albuquerque Natural Health Center in the box, and I say who or what is pulling us away from our forward movement. And I clear the energy about, and it could be a client, it could be my husband, it could be a situation that occurred, it could be Mercury's retrograde and the computers are going crazy.
Yes.
I mean, it could be anything.
We know what that's about. Every one of you.
And I clear that energy, but I also look at those times differently. I look at them as, and this is a great book I want to recommend, The Big Leap. It's by Gay Hendricks. And what he talks about is those transitional times when we're not doing well, or maybe we got sick, or we're having a slump, or whatever's happening. It's usually right before you're going to leap. So you're usually going to take a spiritual leap. And so it just means sort of the old chaos has to sort of spin out. And so they're not negative time. It's not a negative thing. It's actually a positive thing that you're having a bad time. If you can look at it as, hey, you're just ready to leap and go within. That's the time to journal, take a walk, be reflective, meditate, and then you can use, access consciousness clearing statements or the techniques, brain soul balancing, emotion code, matrix, energetic. You can use many, and some of you have bags and bags of amazing tools out there, that you already use. You want to clear that energy and then be able to step forward again. But know that it's okay to be there for a little while. Yeah. As that's kind of spinning out.
Well said. And it's like anything. Training and coaches that you all are, or leaders in your practice or in your life and family, just because you have that title, maybe official or non-official, that's irrelevant, but you have that role, doesn't mean you're not human, doesn't mean you're not going through the same cycles of I'm unstoppable and those cycles of doubt. That's where I want to remind you that things, little tools like the Friday Focus Call, or being able to tap into resources like the groups with Luis or many others out there are used to remind you you're not alone, and to kind of stir up and say, you know what, I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. I'm going to move forward through this and practice some of these things that I'm an expert in. And that will make you, yes, a better practitioner, because you've done it, you've been through it. And practicing yourself, again, like Luis's story, is, I think, makes the most remarkable and influential practitioners. And many of the people in my network, Luis, that you also share quite a few of, they cross-reference, many of them, with the quantum biofeedback practitioners. Many of them started on the journey for their own hurdles to overcome. And now they're in this position. Doesn't make them Superman or Superwoman, but it makes them been there before. And that adds so much credibility to when you share the value of what you bring forth too. And thank you for that answer though, because that just reminded us all that we have to just take a deep breath and remember we have some tools to use. And It's special.
I
So
want to
we're
give you a tool.
give us a tool.
I can never leave a group. I
Can
always
you?
have to leave a group different than when we started.
Okay, wonderful.
Because you were saying that, I want to share this with everyone. Some of you may know this already, but you can go get this information right now. So I wrote a blog called Seventh Heaven, and it's on Access Consciousness, and it's on beautifulbalancedbrain.com. It's about the third one down, and it's called Seventh Heaven. And this is when you would use this. So I'll give you an example. I have a client who's a young man who is really brilliant. He's a TA at a college, but he's a little socially awkward, I would say, maybe a little Asperger's, and he knows it. He knows that about himself. Well, he fell in love with this girl and then found out that she had a boyfriend, and it broke his heart, and it was really hard for him. But he used this tool that I'm sending you to. So like we can clear some energy around anything that's blocking you right now. So even if you're just feeling, hey, I'm not confident, I'm not 100% myself, there's some energy in the field that just feels off today. So here's how we would do it. We're just going to say, I destroy and uncreate any limitations, assumptions, projections, conclusions, or decisions about, and I'll let you fill in the blank. And then we say, and it's a clearing statement, good and bad, right and wrong, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond. And then I have people tap the bottom of their foot. I know it doesn't make sense when you say it, but it's Access Consciousness, so I did not create this, but it's an amazing, very quick little tool. And the reason I shared the story of this amazing young man who I deeply love and I'm so proud of him is because I taught that in a class here at Albuquerque Natural Health Center, and he used it every day, sometimes 7, 8, 10 times a day, anytime he was feeling sad about this situation. Turned the energy around, got to meet her for coffee before he left for school, which is out of state, and they're friends. He shifted the energy in the field. That's
Nice.
what's possible.
That's amazing.
Cool, huh?
And you reminded us of something else. Thank you. And I just shared that, everybody, in the message in our chat, that link to that blog post that Louise and that GIF. Thank you, Louise, for that. That just reminded me of something too, is ask your people, everybody, the stories and experiences. Don't hesitate to ask for feedback and for testimonials and stories of how things have changed, because that's fuel for you to give and serve more. You need to know feedback is important, just like the feedback in the cybernetic loop, right? Information that's coming back and recalibrating. You recalibrate from that, and it really motivates you when you know you're doing something right. And it's like that little fuel, that little nitric oxide boost of just energy that really helps you. And I think we could all agree that when people give us the positive feedback, it's important. So, but you have to ask for it sometimes, because not everybody is as outspoken and, say, extroverted as you may be. And it takes courage, but it also takes coping with the fear and putting and checking that little fear monster in the corner and saying, I don't care what people think about me. I trust and believe I'm doing something right. I'm going to ask what they think. Puts you in perspective too when people come to sit with you and how vulnerable they may think and feel. Asking them how their session went directly after is really positive too, because they get to kind of download themselves, right? They like record it in their own brain what that session meant to them in their own words. And I've been doing better about that. It's hard though. It takes an extra step. But after a quick 20-minute, say, tech call, I'll send a little feedback report to them and say, hey, let me know what you thought. Did I show up on time? Was I courteous? Things like this. And it's helped me be better, right? It's helped me serve better, but it's also given them a memory to store that makes a difference, that they can recall. Yes. But it takes courage. It takes, trusting and believing in yourself there before you can really go out and ask the world what they think of you. It's not something you do every day. So how does confidence in what you do play a role in the work? and where did that come from?
That's key. Okay. I mean, it's absolutely key, so it is about believing. You've got to believe in your work or you wouldn't be doing it, right? Hopefully. So if you believe in what you do, you will get better results, especially if you're a healer. That confidence matters.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about nipping that little shadow voice that comes in that might say those kind of times when you need to look at the big leap kind of thing.
Yep.
You got to nip those in the bud right away and keep moving forward. I have the opportunity in a group that I'm in, because I have coaches too. So as a coach, I need a coach, right? So I believe in mentors. I believe we all need mentors. And so I'm in a mastermind group, and there's a wonderful gentleman in my group, and he's a Wall Street guy, and he writes books. He wrote a book for Wall Street. So, other side of the brain, right? Then certainly the healer practitioner person. And we were practicing our little spiels, and I had him and another gal stand up, and some of you know I do this codes in the field, this work, and I was doing 4222, 4462, and all these codes on this Wall Street guy, and it was kind of funny. I saw his face shift. I mean, he definitely shifted. The energy field shifted. It was very fun to watch, but then I had to ask for feedback afterwards, and I was blown away by his feedback, really, because he said to me, well, I knew it was a little woo-woo, but you were so confident that I believed it. And I didn't even know I was playing.
Right.
Because I was playing in the field,
right,
realizing that this might help these people. Why not play with it? Why not try it? And
wonderful.
And that was such good feedback to hear those. So that's such a good example of what you're asking right now.
Oh, beautiful, Louise. That's perfect. That real life example, and that feedback. Did that help? What did that feedback tell you? It told you that the way you deliver how you serve and how you do it is almost as important, right? And it goes back to the whole placebo. If you come across that you know what you're doing, and people I don't underestimate the emotional intelligence of people, even if they may not disclose it. They can read if someone's authentic or not. And so a lot of these tools are to build you in terms of boosting that confidence and trust. And of course, your education and training and certifications and licensing, that all adds to that belief system. But it comes down to when you're sitting across from somebody and you're sharing words of wisdom, support, and your tone and your delivery style and all this, it matters. It really matters. And you also mentioned a great point too, Louise, about as a coach and a leader yourself, you also have coaches and leaders, and you're one of mine. My dad's one of mine, and I've got others that are outside of the industry that are also mine. And that's so important for us all to remember.
Yes, absolutely. So absolutely.
Let's see here. Okay, we're going to go into some fun questions. What do you do? How do you take a day off? What would be the ideal day for Louise Swartz-Walter when you have no commitments and you want to give back to yourself?
I like to be in nature. So I'm either out in my garden or I go hiking a lot.
Yeah.
So I love to hike. And remember, I took you to Triangle Rock.
Oh, yeah. That's what I pictured when you said that. It's a beautiful hike outside of Albuquerque, just east. What is it? The eastern side of the city.
Yes.
Right up from your house.
I love it up there. I just love it up there. So on Sunday afternoon, usually about sunset, I'll take a hike. I got a great story about that actually. So I like numbers, and it was 1/11/2011. So that's January.
Yeah.
Okay? So sunsets early. It was about 3:00 in the afternoon. And I went, I better go on my hike or it's going to get too dark. And I was really excited. And I actually can't run all the way anymore, you guys, but I jog, walk.
Yeah.
So I jog, walk up the hill, and I got to my Triangle Rock, and it looks over all of Albuquerque. So you can see the whole city from this rock. And I usually stand on that rock and do the Four Seasons thing, so I go, health, wealth, love, and abundance come to me and my family now and all my clients now. And I do the north, south, east, or west thing.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was asking to be spiritually fed. I was just excited about the date because I like 11s because they're a Christ consciousness number. And I said, God, please just spiritually feed us today.
Yeah.
And I looked down, and on that rock at my feet was a silver fork, like a real fork. Not a
Wow.
plastic
Wow.
fork, a silver fork.
That's amazing.
I know. And my heart started pounding. I'm by myself, can't tell anyone, right? And I'm going, wow, this is a fork. And I didn't even know if I should pick it up. Like I bent down, and I'm like, wow. And then I thought, what am I supposed to do with it? And I left it there. I said a little prayer, and I left it there.
Yeah.
And I ran down the mountain so excited to write the story.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that. I've never heard that. That is ask and you shall receive. I thought you were going to say you took a big bite of the dirt and it helped cleanse you, and no, but it did. Spiritually, that's phenomenal. Well, Louise, I want to open it up to any questions people may have.
Okay.
And thank you for sharing that personal story, and really thank you for sharing some of your tips. I think you've helped me. I know that, and also help us gain insight into your program, which I'm sure a lot of people want to learn more about. There's a question here from Susan. Thanks, okay. Susan. And let's see here. Kristen, thanks, Kristen. Real quick feedback.
Oh, thanks, Kristen and Susan.
Yeah. Oh, so you can see these. Great. Excellent.
I can. And then Susan wanted to know about trauma. She said, we see trauma on the device. What programs in the adductor would you suggest? I like the homotoxicology panel and certainly NLP. So if you're going to look, and then there's, I guess it's in the back panel, I think it is actually called trauma. So I go to trauma. It's next to super learning. So it's in there. And I actually go to trauma and I will type in that box whatever that person is releasing. And then, of course, I'm doing my little twirly handwork stuff and my changing the field at the same time. So that's how I would use that.
Wonderful. And Susan, thank you. All your questions, everybody, I'm making a master list of, so that when the fall kicks in September, we're going to start taking some of these points and having actual screen share, program display, because I know everybody's hungry for it. You want to see that program in action. So I just want to say thanks, everybody, for kicking this off again and getting started. And Yvonne says, I'm so excited about what we are learning on your webinars. Thanks so much for doing this. No, thank you. You have no idea what this does for the spirit and my purpose of service to you and to show up. We were talking about this, Louise, having these events, no matter if no one shows or not, it doesn't matter. It's about, and this seems a little selfish, I won't lie, but it boosts my battery. It gives me something to look forward to. It actually holds me accountable too, right? I'm not just, I have to show up. I've got to coordinate with you. And that's exciting because tomorrow we have a more formal webinar, same platform, everybody. And again, it's the Brain Boosters webinar. We've done this, 2-3 years now?
Yes.
And it's based around supporting the groups Louise does. So thanks, Yvonne, for your feedback. And Kristen, of course, I've had the opportunity to work with Louise, and she's the real deal. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kristen. And thank you, Yvonne and Susan. Yes, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Jake. I just love this. I mean, we joke around about having the like Jake and Louise show,
Yeah. Well, that's what this is. And we will have that someday for sure. Because we get kind of quirky sometimes and it's fun. Louise allows that space and you keep it fun. You keep it light. When you're dealing with people's wellness and health, it can be very heavy. It can be very intimate, very personal, which of course all of you respect and keep that confidentiality. But when you show up light and more carefree and light and not so serious and dark, like you have a high reactant to peanut butter or something, you're gonna help people better.
Right.
The webinar tomorrow is at 12 o'clock Mountain, and you can register for that. I'll send out a link here after the link here, and I'll send it while we're on.
Can I show them where that is real quick on the
Of course, go for it. You can share your screen up there.
I'm going to share my screen real quick here.
And let's see, there's another question from Susan, the feedback survey for clients to see how well we are doing.
So here's
what kind of question? Okay.
Here's the link, everybody. And so this is the link that you'll get to sign up. It's on Webinar Jam. So we will send you this link. It's also on my website. So if you just go to ABQ Natural Health Center and you click here, Big Brain Boosters webinar. So that's tomorrow at noon Mountain Time. And then you can also sign up through here. So a couple different places you could do that. And then how do I get back to, okay, there we are. Stop my screen share. Did it stop?
Not yet, but you can hover over, there you go. And I'm gonna post that link, everybody, right here. You can register after or during, whatever you wanna do. And some of you may already have. I know a lot of you have already. Let's see. Now, what I wanna do, Luis, is in my communications and my commitment, I wanted to answer questions that have to do with any technical like emergencies with people's systems, because that's another goal for the Friday Focus, is to be there for you for support. And you can all go ahead, you have permission to ask questions. I see that, yes, there will be a replay of this. Mm-hmm. And the replay is automatically sent out to all the registrants. And beyond that, though, beyond the week, because the replay won't be live in the replay room only for that week, but it's posted on the blog, whitedoveglobal.com/blog. You can find all the replays there. Very simple and easy to do. There was a question, though, before you go, Luis.
Okay.
That I can expand on and actually help. Let's see here, Susan. The feedback survey for clients to see how well we are doing, or the practitioner, what kind of questions would you ask your clients? That's a really good question. And I don't know if you have an actual piece of paper survey. I could definitely expand on that. That's a really good topic in itself. And I can send Susan, if you email me, jake@whitedoveglobal.com, I'll send you some of the surveys I've created in the past, and you can configure it. But do you have any questions that you would ask off the top of your head?
You mean what I ask off the top of my head? Yeah, I mean, I just generally, how was your session today? What's changed? And you know what I do with pain level with people, if they have pain, I say, is your pain a 0 through 10 when they come in? And in the group meeting the other night, we had people with 8 and 9 pain levels. And by the time they left, they were a 4.
Yeah. So
that's one thing you can ask. And then it helps them clue in and recognize the fact that, yes, they feel different, right? They feel better. Their pain is less. Also ask, did we cover everything that you wanted to cover today? And I ask for feedback too. And I often do little videos even on my phone. I'll just take my phone and do a little testimonial video if somebody's sharing something, and they give me permission to do that. So we get feedback that way. And there are all kinds of surveys that you can kind of create with that. Sometimes just you in the moment with that person, getting just verbal feedback like that is the best.
I think so. I think it doesn't have to be so formal. I think authentically asking right in that moment where you're wrapping up the session, looking them square in the eye and asking, so how do you feel? And let them share. And it doesn't have to be even recorded, those are all very positive, because that boosts, and you can use that as leverage, especially with marketing and sharing your value. But in order for them to download it, having them speak how they felt, what their experience was, it doesn't have to be, so could I have talked slower or faster? It doesn't need to be specific to your performance per se, as how they felt. How are they feeling moving forward after that session? Because when you speak it, when you say something, unconsciously you're downloading that because you created it, right? It's from their heart, and that authentic approach. I think, Luis, is where you were sharing, right? Is what you're talking about?
Yeah. You want it to be, want it to be real in the moment. There are a few other questions there, and I know Sandra has a question about arthritis. And yeah, I can recommend some things. Collagen is really good for that, and then muscle, ligament, and cartilage. If you were looking at remedies, that helps a lot. And then of course I use biofeedback. And if you want more specifics, if somebody still is thinking of questions even after this is over today, Jake, I want to give people my email, so
are you
can
sure
email
about
me.
That? You always do that. And I'm like, whoa, I gave mine out too. So, hey, it's public.
I'm good with that. I can answer emails after my day is over. So that works for me. It's Louise Swartz. So LOUISE SWARTS@msn.com. Because I know it looks like Zoe had a question about releasing old emotional trauma. And I talked a little bit about that. I use my brain soul balancing technique. And some other things that I do that are in the energy field. So if you want more specifics too, just go ahead and email me and I'll see what I can get to you. And then definitely tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow you're going to learn a lot about the brain and the 5 steps to really feeling that you're focused and how to optimize your brain. So that's tomorrow. I invite you to be a part of that.
Thanks everybody. And
tomorrow.
The link is, I just sent it and broadcasted it out to everybody. Go ahead and register and you'll get a confirmation and all that before the webinar. But I took some valuable information and insight that I'm going to focus and hone in on is emotional trauma. That's going to be a focus where we're going to get in and get specifics with the program and with the tool many of you and we all share. But I'm excited about moving forward into finishing this year strong, Luis. And as we wrap things up, I want to open it up. I'm going to hang out for a few minutes with a Q&A, but I just want to officially say thank you for showing up and always supporting the practitioners. And I'm excited for the future working with you.
Oh, me too, Jake. This is awesome. So thank you so much for doing these calls again. So many people, we so appreciate it. It's such a great way to connect. And I want to offer everybody out there, and you too, Jake, that if we, let's network too and get some great people on these calls with you too.
Yeah.
So if you're needing, practitioners to show up and they have some food for thought that they want to share, they know it help other people.
Absolutely.
Right?
No, and thank you, Luis, for reminding. We talked about this the last few weeks, getting started with the focus call again and preparing for your webinar. This platform allows that, everybody, and that's something I'll do a little video training on so that you can be prepared. There's some tech specs that you need to have, like, of course, webcam and audio, and you'll want to not be in your underwear. It's not that kind of show, but things like this that you'll want to kind of be ready for. But this is an open call. We want to welcome people, and you can do that by some of you, Joyce, you put your thumb up or your finger up, and it's inviting as a speaker. And so if I do that, you can join us and be part of this. And we can have up to 10 speakers at one time, and there'll be calls where we have multiple speakers too. So, but you're right. Many of you, all of you are experts in your own field and getting things started again. I tapped into my consistent resources like Luis, and that are really just always here for me. So we appreciate you, Luis. And I'm excited for tomorrow. We're gonna have some fun. By the way, this webinar, everybody, if you haven't been on one of Luis's webinars, she gives you content. Bring your pad of paper and your notes because she delivers content. It's obviously in promotion of where Luis is going with her programs. Of course it is, because it's a way to share her value. Yet there is content packed in these. And I've even had to tell her, the webinar can't be 2 hours, Luis. It has to be a little shorter because people have to go.
Keep going on and on and on. Yeah. And then I also, during the webinar, I always do a biofeedback frequency session on the group, because again, I can never leave a group the same way I found them.
Yep.
Healing has to take place. It will always be my obsession. I don't know how to do it any other way. So that happens. So you'll leave better. You'll have a great day then on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's very educational for your clients too, right, Louise? This is not, this is something that obviously it's open to everybody. And what a wonderful, wonderful way to give back to your people by inviting them. So you can take the email I send you, Louise's, the confirmation after you register, share that link with people, because it's really a powerful way. Even if they can't access it, remember, if they register, they're going to be able to access the replay at their convenience, maybe on Sunday evening after all the kids are settled in, or, you know, an evening time. So remember, technology is amazing this way, and we can leverage that way. So nothing replaces, I believe, live connection. And that's something I know Louise has live events. Many of you do too. Nothing replaces that. Yet we can do our best and maximize the technology we have by connecting through this type of platform. So I don't see any questions. Is there any questions about tech stuff, you guys? You can always email me. I'm going to type in, if you have tech related questions, I'm going to give you the support email. It's just support@whitedoveglobal.com. Easy. And I'm actually training somebody now to be part of the team. His name is Josh, and he is a great, great young man wanting to serve and be a part of something bigger than what he's currently doing. And we're working on him getting trained to be a wonderful tech support person, and also to manage these webinars, making sure replays are sent immediately, making sure the back end and videos are loaded for Louise's broadcasts, things of this nature. And I'm excited because I need help, and it's time to expand this little operation I've been cranking through for the last few years. And I appreciate everybody's support with that. So again, if you need any support regarding purchasing, selling your equipment, purchasing equipment, trade-ins, updates with software, that's what we're here for. We're here to support you, as well as to connect you with leaders like Louise. Louise, any last words before we send people on their way?
Oh, just thank everybody for being here, and I want to thank you, Jake. We always have so much fun. Are you going to put that halo on? Maybe I love those. I love those little Google tricks that you can do. This is an amazing platform, you guys. We have so much fun with this. And again, I want to encourage everybody to be a part of the webinar. Get signed up, because even if you can't be there, you'll get the replay. So that's the only way to get the replay, is get signed up so you get the replay, and pass that on to your friends who also would be interested in anything having to do with the brain. The brain is getting huge. It's a huge topic in the next decade here. And
that's really what everyone works with in terms of, do you see my halo?
Yay, I love that. Isn't that cool, everybody?
Pretty cool.
There's some Google tricks that we can play with here. And
well, okay, everyone can sit down now. It's okay. I know it was great, but just, hey, you can sit. Anyway, I'm probably just clogging everyone's bandwidth with that. But to send everybody out, appreciate everyone who joined us live, as well as everybody who is watching the replay. Let's have some fun. Do something great this weekend. Go out, have a party for yourself. Go on a walk. Take your dog on an extra long hike. And don't take life too seriously. Love what you do. Keep that passion going. And Louise, we love you. Thanks for being here with us today through this hour of power.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, everyone.
Love you all. Thank you.
Love you all. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.